Hey there everybody, Phil here for AndroidCentral.com, and we have spent some quality time with the Samsung Infuse 4G on AT&T, and I want to give you a little walkthrough here. It's a 4.5-inch screen. Huge, ginormous, but very, very thin. And really that thinness makes it work. You really have to experience it for yourself, but despite the size, it feels really good. Up top here, you've got a 1.3 megapixel camera and the earpiece, and down below you got your capacitive buttons, pretty normal. On the side here, keep hitting it, the power button, right? That's Samsung's usual spot, and you've got volume buttons on the left. Below, you've got a micro USB port and microphone, and up top, you've got a secondary mic and 3.5mm headphone jack. So here we are, it's TouchWiz, it's Samsung. We've kind of seen all this before, right? Nothing's really that different. AT&T hasn't really loaded this thing down with widgets and whatnot. In fact, it's missing the Samsung Daily Briefing software, which kind of sucks. I like that, actually. You've got your kind of, I still call it Leap. I know HTC coined that phrase, but everybody else has borrowed it, so you can hop from home screen to home screen, and you can actually pick which one that you want to set as your default home screen, so that's kind of cool. Let's see, go back here. And how about look at the launcher? It's your usual TouchWiz launcher. If you haven't used this before, it actually has a couple neat features. So it's horizontal scroller. I'm not crazy about that. Maybe you think it's okay. Cool. But you actually have a couple different views. Now, I think I finally figured out why I don't like the TouchWiz launcher. It's not the icons, it's the colored background. So I'm used to looking for Gmail, right? And it's got that purple background. You've also got Angry Birds and some AT&T apps on there. A little bit of bloatware, but not too terribly bad. So it's your launcher, you know, horizontal scroller, But say you don't like the way it looks. We actually have a couple different views that we can look at. So right now it's on alphabetical grid. Let's change it to alphabetical list, and sure enough, you get a list. Kind of boring, right? Now, the one I like to use is the customizable grid. So again, it's a grid of icons, lame, boring, but we can edit it now. So you can actually change the positions of where all the icons are and the groupings there. Or more important, you can swap them out down there on the bottom. I don't actually use email, I use Gmail. So I'm gonna put Gmail down there. Really, really simple, nice and easy, and we'll save it. And go back to the home screen, and look, there's Gmail right where I want it. Very nice. Glad Samsung lets you do that. Now, let's take another look. And I think we're about done with the launcher. How about we dive into the settings, maybe? Yes, let's do that. So we are dealing with Android 2.2.1, not even 2.2.2. Right, but this is still Froyo. I would expect it to probably get a Gingerbread release, unless, and I don't think this will happen, I'm willing to bet it gets Gingerbread first, unless we actually get Ice Cream Sandwich first, but probably not. Now you see up top, I have an H+, and I also have UMTS. You know, we've written and read so many things on AT&T and 4G. Put it this way, I haven't seen 4G speeds on this phone in San Francisco or Atlanta or even here in Pensacola. Anything like what you will see on an LTE device, so just keep that in mind. 8 megapixel camera on the back, very, very nice, very good camera. Here's how you pry off the battery cover if you haven't seen our other video on that. The battery cover itself is actually really thin. I've seen people complain about that. I don't know why. It's not like, you know, somebody's gonna look at your phone and say, my, that battery cover's thin. No, they're gonna say, wow, that's a huge ass phone. If you haven't seen our other video as well, the micro SD card is actually tucked underneath the SIM card, and we'll have a link in the review. You can go check out how to actually get it out, because it's a little bit tricky. So that is up underneath, and to put it back in, you got to slide the bottom in first, and then everything else just snaps into place nicely. So it's actually really well put together. So it's a thin door, it's textured, but once it's on there, it feels great. Let's power this guy back up. Tell you what, while it's booting up, let's actually look at down here at the bottom. So there's your micro USB port. Now we don't have an HDMI port out, but we do have an adapter. It's called an MHL adapter. And there you see you have you have a full HDMI port on the bottom of that. So it just plugs into your phone thusly, and then you have HDMI. But the thing is, it doesn't have enough power. You have to plug in a micro USB power source into this thing. That is just ridiculous. If you have to have HDMI, I might think of another phone. That's really rough, guys. I'm sorry. Not my fault, though. Let's see. All right, so we got to boot it back up, but let's look at some other phones. So here is the HTC Thunderbolt on Verizon. It's a 4.3-inch phone, and tell you what, let's zoom out a little bit so you can really get the full effect here. So the Thunderbolt is no small phone, and look how much taller the Infuse is, but look how much thinner it is too. And that thinness really, really does make it work. I mean, it feels large, but it doesn't feel big, right? Big, big difference. Thunderbolt just looks short and stout compared to it, doesn't it? So there's that. I tell you, the phone I really think of when I hold this, though, is Motorola Droid X. So it's actually just about as tall as the X. Maybe just a smidge. It's a little bit thinner as well. So again, I can't say that enough. It's big, but it's thin. And there's the fat end of the Droid X up by the camera. You actually have kind of a reverse chin down on the bottom on the Infuse, but it's still not as big as the chin on the Droid X. Let's see what else we want to walk you through. How about... I'll tell you what we need to see, and this is good. AT&T has changed things. Unknown sources. You can now sideload on the Infuse. I don't know if they're going to go back and change all their other phones, but this is very good. Let's see what else we got. How about we'll go down and take a look at the memory. So I've got a 2 gigabyte micro SD card in here now. We got about 13 gigs on an internal SD card, and then another gig of internal storage for apps and stuff. So you have no shortage of storage on this phone, and that's nice to see. You do have tethering. You have wired and Wi-Fi tethering, and that's kind of it, guys. A real quick look at the Infuse 4G. We'll see you later.